ASHTAR's transmission came with a specific warning. A new virus will appear. Not as a random event, not as a coincidence of nature, but as a deliberate sign, the kind that arrives before something far larger begins. He said it clearly. This virus will move faster than anything the medical system expects. It will confuse doctors. It will spread in ways that don't follow the patterns they have mapped. And the people who do not survive it in peace will not be the ones without medicine. They will be the ones who did not understand what they were actually living through. That is why you are here right now. Something in you recognized that title. Something in you already knew, before you clicked, that what is being described is not tomorrow's news story. You have been feeling it for a while. The heaviness in the air, the strange anxiety with no name, the sense that something enormous is close. That feeling is not fear. That is your body reading the field, and your body has been correct. I want to be honest with you from the first moment of this transmission. I am not here to frighten you. Fear is the one thing that will make these coming days harder than they need to be. What I am here to do is tell you what ASHTAR actually said, not the softened version, not the comfortable version, the full transmission, including the part that most people are not ready to hear. The new virus is not the event. It is the announcement of the event. Think of it the way you would think of thunder before a storm. The thunder is real. The thunder matters. But the thunder is not the storm. It is the signal that the storm is minutes away. What ASHTAR described as coming, what traditions from the Hopi to Catholic prophecy to the Galactic Federation all confirm, is a period of approximately 72 hours of complete darkness across the entire planet. The 3 days of darkness. And the virus is one of the final signs that those days are within reach. Now, before we go any further, I need to address the people watching this who are thinking, this sounds extreme, I understand that, and I want to say something directly to you. I have sat with this transmission for a long time before sharing it here, because what is coming is not extreme, it is ancient. Multiple traditions that have nothing to do with each other have recorded this same event across thousands of years. The Hopi call it the purification. The Catholic mystics called it the warning and the chastisement. The Galactic Federation calls it the reset, the planetary clearing that precedes a new frequency. Different names, the same event, and it is not punishment. It is passage. The question is not whether this is coming. The question is whether you will move through it in stability or in chaos. And the answer to that question is being determined right now, in the days and weeks before it begins, not in the moment the darkness falls. What I am about to share is what ASHTAR transmitted about how to move through it, why millions will not make that crossing in peace, and what you, the one watching this right now, were placed here specifically to do. The reason most people will not survive this transition in peace has nothing to do with their physical strength. It has nothing to do with their age, their health, or their resources. The reason is simpler and more devastating than any of that. They will not have a protocol. They will wake up inside those 72 hours with no framework for what is happening. No preparation, no practice, no anchor. And when a human being has no framework for an experience, the mind does the only thing it knows how to do. It panics. But here is what ASHTAR made absolutely clear in this transmission. And this is the part that changed how I see this entire event. The group most at risk is not the young and the distracted. The group most at risk is the older souls. The ones living alone. The grandmother in Arizona who has been feeling something for 2 years and whose family thinks she is going through a phase. The man in his 70s in Florida who wakes at 3 in the morning and lies there listening and cannot explain to anyone what he is listening for. These souls are spiritually sensitive enough to feel everything that is coming, and they are the most isolated. They are sitting in their homes, carrying information their bodies are receiving, with no one around them who understands what they are holding. I feel strongly about this. I want to say it plainly. The isolated, awakened soul is carrying a weight right now that almost nobody is talking about. You may be that person. You may know that person. And I want you to understand something that ASHTAR said directly. The isolation is not an accident. The sensitive souls were placed in those quiet homes, in those small towns, in those apartments where no one checks on them, precisely because their homes are meant to become something specific during the 3 days. Not a refuge, not just a shelter, a node, a point of stable light in a network that spans the entire continent. I know that if you have been waking at 3 in the morning for the past several months with your heart racing, you are not experiencing insomnia. I know that if your animals have been behaving differently, clingy, restless, watching corners of rooms that appear empty, they are not confused. Animals register the approach of a planetary shift before any human instrument can measure it. These are the 8 signs that the 3 days are drawing near, and the ringing you hear in your left ear, the pressure at the top of your head, the strange sense that time is moving wrong. These are signals, not symptoms. Your body has been in preparation mode. It already knows. Now, before I go further, because what comes next in this transmission is the most specific and practical information I have ever shared on this channel, I need to tell you about something that exists specifically for the soul who is preparing alone. Everything I can share here is the foundation, but there is a complete survival guide, transmitted through the light of Commander ASHTAR SHERAN and the Arcturian Council, that contains what YouTube will not let me give you in full. The 9 physical preparations with their exact spiritual meanings. The complete sealing ceremony for your home step by step from sunrise to the moment the darkness falls, and the hour-by-hour protocol for all 72 hours. What to do in the first 6 hours, how to hold the rhythm through hours 6 to 24, how to recognize the deepest point at hours 24 to 48, and how to know when the morning is actually coming. That guide is in the first pinned comment. If you are watching this and you are alone, if you are the only one in your house who understands what is coming, this guide was made for exactly you. It is the difference between darkness with a protocol and darkness without one. And that difference is everything. The Facebook page is in the first link in the description. I want you to go there and follow it now, not later now, because YouTube is actively removing channels that speak this truth. What we cannot finish saying here, we continue there. Exclusive content. Transmissions that do not appear anywhere else. If this channel disappears tomorrow, that page is where we continue. The link is in the description. Go there. Follow it. It may be the most important click you make today. Now, what the 3 days actually are, because most of what you have heard about them is incomplete, and the incomplete version is what creates unnecessary fear. Here is what is actually happening during those 72 hours. The planet is not being attacked. The planet is healing. Think of the last time you had a high fever, that burning, disorienting, exhausting experience where you could not think clearly and everything felt wrong. That fever was not your enemy. That fever was your immune system doing exactly what it was designed to do. The heat was killing what did not belong in your body. The 3 days of darkness is that fever, scaled to an entire planet. What moves through the air during those 72 hours is not evil in the way most people imagine it. It is centuries of accumulated collective fear releasing from the planetary body at once. Every unprocessed grief, every suppressed rage, every prayer that was never answered and turned into despair, all of it releasing simultaneously from the earth itself. The Pleiadian Council transmitted it this way. What is clearing during these hours is not yours. It is ancestral, planetary. Watch it pass the way you watch weather pass. You are the house that holds steady through it. That image has stayed with me since I first received it. You are not in the storm. You are the house. The storm passes through. The house remains. But, and this is the part that requires honesty, the hours from 24 to 48 are the most intense. The Arcturian Council calls this the peak of the clearing. What happens during those hours is that everything you have been carrying that does not belong to your future will surface. Old grief, old fear, old patterns you thought you had resolved. They will feel enormous in the silence and the darkness, and the untrained soul, the one with no framework, will not know that what they are experiencing is not a breakdown. It is a release. It is the healing at full intensity. And confusing those two things is what creates the real danger. This is why the preparation matters so much more than most people realize. Not the candles, though the candles matter. Not the water, though the blessed water matters, the inner preparation. ASHTAR called it the preparation of the inner house. Before the darkness arrives, there is something specific you are meant to do each day. Identify one thing you have been carrying that does not belong to your future. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Not to anyone in particular, to the field. Say it clearly. I release this. It served me while it did. It no longer does. I am lighter now. This is not a ritual. This is a daily practice of lightening your load before you enter the crossing. Every day you do this, you arrive at the 3 days carrying less, and less is more. Less weight means more stability. More stability means you become the anchor, not another candle that gets blown out. Something happened in the last several months that the Syrian Council addressed directly. They said, star seeds were placed in every city, every neighborhood, every corner of the planet for this reason, so that no community would be entirely without an anchor of light. This is what I mean when I say that the isolated soul in the quiet apartment is not forgotten. They are positioned. There is a difference between those two things. Forgotten means you do not matter. Positioned means you are exactly where you are supposed to be for a reason that is about to become completely clear to everyone around you, including the family members who thought you were going through a phase. The way you will move through the 3 days will be the testimony that changes minds in your circle, not your words about what is coming, your stability while it arrives. The skeptic in your house will not be converted by information. They will be converted by watching you hold steady when everything feels like it is falling. That is your assignment. That is what ASHTAR meant when he said the prepared souls will not merely survive. They will serve. And the service is simple. Remain calm. Keep the light on. Hold the space. The preparation you do now is what makes that possible then. Now I want to share something that most transmissions on this topic skip entirely, and I believe it is the most important practical information in this entire video. There are 9 physical preparations that ASHTAR transmitted specifically for the 3 days. I want to be clear about something first. These are not survival items in the way a camping store would sell them. Each one carries a spiritual function that is as important as its physical function. Remove one, and the field weakens. Gather all 9, and what you have built is not a stockpile. It is a frequency architecture, a protection system built from the most ancient knowledge this planet carries, salt at every threshold. This is the first and most immediate step. Not a sprinkle, a deliberate line at every door frame and every windowsill placed with clear intention. Salt is a boundary keeper. It has been used for this purpose in traditions spanning every continent for thousands of years. When you place it, you are not performing superstition. You are working with a physical substance that has a measurable effect on the energy field of a space. The intention with which you place it is what activates that effect. Speak when you do it. This threshold is sealed. What enters here enters by invitation only. White candles, at least 10, beeswax if possible, lit at the moment the darkness begins, speaking aloud the names of every person and every animal in your home. ASHTAR was specific about this. A name spoken aloud in darkness is a coordinate of light. When you say a name, you are locating that soul in the field and extending your field to reach them. This is not poetry. This is how the energy of intention operates. Blessed water, stored in glass or ceramic, enough for 3 full days. Olive oil, prayed over and dedicated to healing. Bread and sustaining food. Frankincense or sage to carry through every room. A physical sacred text, not a phone, not a tablet, because when the power fails, that text must still be readable. And seeds. This is the one that carries the most meaning to me. Plant seeds immediately after the darkness ends. A seed planted in the ground in the hours after the 3 days is one of the most powerful declarations a soul can make. It is saying, I believe there is a morning. I believe in what comes next. I am already beginning it. Now, I have to be honest about something I have watched happen repeatedly in the comments on this channel. People write in and say, I have been trying to prepare, but I live alone and I do not know where to start. Or, I know something is coming, but I cannot get my family to listen, and I feel completely alone in this. If that is you, and I believe it may be many of you watching right now, I want to tell you directly. You are not unprepared because you are weak. You are unprepared because nobody has handed you a clear protocol, not a list of concepts. A protocol. A sequence. Something you can follow step by step starting today, before the darkness arrives, so that when it does arrive, you do not have to think. You just follow what you have already practiced. That is exactly what the guide in the first pinned comment was built to be. The complete sealing ceremony for your home, step by step from sunrise on the day before the event. The 3-element prayer that ASHTAR specified, who you are, what you are choosing, and who you extend that choice to, speaking the names of your family and your animals aloud. The daily release practice to begin right now, today, not when the darkness comes. And the hour-by-hour protocol for all 72 hours, so that at every point in those 3 days, you know exactly where you are in the crossing and what to do next. This guide exists specifically for the soul who is preparing alone, the soul who cannot afford to improvise when the darkness falls. If you are 60 or 70 or living by yourself in a home where no one else understands what is happening, this was built for you. It is in the first pinned comment. It will not be there forever. The cosmic picture behind all of this is something the Galactic Federation addressed in a transmission that I want to share in the final part of this video. Because understanding the why, understanding what this clearing is actually for, is what transforms the experience from something terrifying into something sacred. And that shift from terror to the sacred is what determines everything about how you move through those 72 hours. Let me tell you what comes after. Because this is where almost every transmission on this topic ends too soon. And the ending is the most important part. ASHTAR's final words in the transmission were these: tell them what comes after. What follows the 3 days is not a world returned to normal. Normal is what will have been cleared, the invisible weight that has been sitting over human consciousness for centuries, the force that keeps people exhausted without reason, that makes decisions feel impossible, that fills every morning with a low-grade dread that nobody can explain. That weight lifts, substantially, noticeably. Within hours of the darkness ending, something that has not been present in the collective field for a very long time begins to return. Mental clarity. Decisions that felt impossible for years become clear. Old grief finds natural resolution without the person understanding why. The body relaxes in ways it has not relaxed in living memory. But here is what none of this means for you if you move through it in panic, in isolation, without preparation. The clearing happens for everyone. The shift in the planetary field is not selective, but what you are able to do with that new field. How quickly you can orient, how effectively you can serve the people around you who are waking up in that new reality and don't understand it, that depends entirely on what you did before it arrived. The Syrian Council said it simply: the prepared soul arrives at the morning as a beacon. The unprepared soul arrives at the morning as someone who also needs a beacon. Both are valid. Both are held. But only one of them is positioned to be what their community needs first. I want to speak directly to the older souls watching this. The ones who are 70 years old, or 68, or 62, living in a house that gets very quiet in the evening, who have been carrying this awareness for years without anyone nearby to share it with. Your age is not a disadvantage in what is coming. Your years are a reservoir. Every difficulty you have moved through, every loss you have survived, every morning you got up when you did not know how, all of that is preparation. The Galactic Federation does not make errors in placement. You were put exactly where you are because that neighborhood, that street, that building needs exactly the kind of steadiness you have been building your entire life. You are not too old for this. You are exactly prepared for this. The morning after the 3 days, you plant seeds. You open your home with intention. You walk through every room and acknowledge that the space was held, that the light inside those walls did not go out. You reach out slowly to your neighbors, not with explanations, not with, I told you so. Just with calm, with food, with presence, with the simple and irreplaceable gift of a person who is not afraid. That is your assignment in what comes after, and it begins now, with the choice to prepare. For those of you watching this who are doing this alone, who are the only prepared soul in your household, who are managing a spouse who is skeptical, or children who are frightened, or elderly parents who need calm guidance through something they have no framework for, the guide in the first pinned comment has a chapter specifically for you. It covers what to say to a child who is afraid, the exact words. It covers what to do when the skeptic in your home finally feels the darkness and turns to you. It covers how your calm is the field that stabilizes everyone else in your space, so that protecting them is not an additional burden. It is simply an extension of your own preparation. If this is your situation, that chapter alone is worth everything. It is in the first pinned comment. Go there now. This information is too important to leave for later. The YouTube page you are watching may not always exist. That is the truth. Channels that speak this kind of transmission are being removed. Our Facebook page, first link in the description, is where we continue everything that cannot be completed here. Exclusive transmissions. Content that does not appear anywhere else. The conversations we cannot have in full on this platform. Follow that page now. It is the most important step you can take after watching this video, because when this channel is gone, that is where we will still be. You do not want to lose that thread. Not now. Not this close to what is coming. This is not the end of the transmission. This is the beginning of your preparation. ASHTAR said the souls who prepared will not merely survive these days, they will serve. And the service starts the moment you decide, I understand what is coming, I know what it is for, and I choose to be the one who holds steady. That decision is made here, in this moment, before the darkness, when it still matters most. You were not placed in this time by accident. The morning is coming. Make sure you are ready to meet it.